So one of the jokes that I like to do on like social media, which a lot of people don't understand that a lot of this stuff is just jokes and it's not really a serious thing even for me, is I like to, when a multi-platform game comes out, I like to kind of post a comparison of the Metacritic score, which, as you guys know, the Metacritic score is basically where they take all the scores from all the sites and put them on there and then average it out for a main score. Now, what happens is, you know, like there'll be a certain amount of scores on an Xbox and a certain amount of scores on a PlayStation. And when you review games, a lot of people don't realize this, but when you actually review games, you can most of the time pick which platform you want to review the game on. And since there's more PlayStations in the world, and I think probably more PlayStation fans, and also I have to point out that a lot of times for the bigger review sites like the IGNs and things, Microsoft and Sony will send them review consoles so that they can review the games, because that's what they want to do. Now, this was a big thing I can remember last generation when the Xbox One X came out. Everybody was like, oh man, that's the end of it. They're going to review every game on the Xbox One X, and that didn't happen. I mean, it really just didn't happen. Most people were already, have a PlayStation 4 and kind of set in their ways and things like that. So when we look at something like Back for Blood, I think it's very interesting that there's such a discrepancy in the scores despite them having the same amount. Now, I'm sure by the time this video hits, there'll be a lot more scores and maybe it'll even out a little bit. But when I posted this, it got quite a lot of interest from people, and I want to go over this real quick. So, what's up, everybody? Crapgamer here with Crapgamer Reviews, back with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please give us a like if you enjoy the content. I would appreciate that as well. It helps out the channel. Means a lot to me personally, so thank you guys very, very much. You guys are, an amazing group, and, I really do appreciate each and every one of you, especially understanding that here I am rebuilding and rebranding as normal. Yeah, so yeah. Anyway, basically, what we're seeing is a situation with the Metacritic scores, and, you see kind of people doing this kind of thing where they think that there's some kind of media bias or whatever. To be honest with you, there's not a media bias. I just think that sometimes, even if you have the most powerful quote-unquote platform or console, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to, have the better version. And I keep trying to tell people that, okay? So if we look at what's going on here, we see that the Back for Blood game has a 72 on the PlayStation, or excuse me, on the Xbox Series X, while it runs a 79 on the PlayStation 5. Now, neither of these scores is what I call exemplary, but, again, it's a distinct difference considering they both have the same amount and round about the same user score, to be honest with you. Now, the interesting thing here is that Microsoft probably paid a good amount of money to get this game into Game Pass, and it really kind of makes it seem like a missed opportunity. Like, Microsoft has some really bad luck with this. If we think about this, the games that they really went and put into Game Pass are this one, which is a lower score, and of course something like Outriders, which I can't remember what that really scored in terms of Xbox and other platforms, but I think that was just looking it up right now, was a 74 on the PlayStation 5 and a 73 on an Xbox Series X. So as you can see, they've really done and by the way, so if you're wondering about Outriders, it's they had 47 reviews on that on the PlayStation 5, and they had 38 on the Xbox. So we see that there's even, it's a point discrepancy. It's maybe not as big a deal or whatever. I think that there is realistically a shot here where we see, Microsoft. I saw something today where it was like, oh, Microsoft's going to take more chances with Game Pass or whatever, but it's like you see Outriders didn't exactly do well. I think MLB The Show, which really wasn't them, I think more or less MLB kind of headed that up, and then you kind of take a look at something like Back for Blood, Outriders. Those are the two that really kind of stand out, that kind of went to Game Pass day and date, and it's not exactly the best look for the service. And I know Microsoft doesn't really have an idea of what these games are going to score, but I do feel like they could maybe put a little bit more effort into finding out a little bit more about these games, or at the very least, I think maybe stop going after these service-based games, because it seems like service-based games aren't exactly ripe with the content and the great scores at launch, and that I think could be a big problem for them in the future as well. It's like, I'm sure they don't like to be known as a service that has mediocre type games, and unfortunately that's kind of what they're known for right now. And then you see people get pissed off at me for pointing out the this situation. So yeah, I think that honestly, this is something that we could see happen again and again, just because I think people play on PlayStation. I don't think it's a biased thing at all, but it is kind of funny being on this side of it, where people go, it's media bias. It's terrible. It's obviously they have a bias against Xbox and they're pro PlayStation. I mean, listen, like when we watched the Jade Raymond interview, right, and she was talking about how she was happy to join PlayStation because they have such good memories of them growing up, and to be a part of that. I mean, I think that really kind of gets to you that they have this better reputation and this really good reputation, and Microsoft just doesn't. And then Microsoft, I'm sure it's not really, like I said, they don't want this to be the case, but just the fact that so many of the games that they put out, and so many of the games that are on like Game Pass, and I've seen the thing where it shows how many have what score or whatever, but the fact of the matter is, I mean, they should be trying to avoid pretty much every low rated game. Just like having a bunch of non-quality content in Game Pass for the sake of saying you have a bunch of content isn't the right way. I think people would be more receptive to 50 hugely great games as opposed to 150, but a lot of them are average or mediocre at best. So this is a very interesting thing, and you see a lot of Xbox fans ticked off by it. Just very strange to see, and again, I like to just kind of have a little bit of fun with this, but for me personally, I think that it's going to be very interesting to see where it all lands, and where where it's going to happen. All these Game Pass defenders, I mean, when you see it all the time, a lot of people make nothing but excuses for for Xbox and Game Pass and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, very interesting to see that, and it's just kind of fun to see it. Like, and here's the thing. When people, like, when I make a tweet like this, or I say something like, okay, the other day there was a Forbes article saying that Halo Infinite was better than the beta, was better than the Battlefield beta, and which the Battlefield beta was better than the Call of Duty beta. And my simple reply to that was, Halo Infinite has had double the development time of both Battlefield and the new Call of Duty. And people personally attacked me for saying that, but I wasn't wrong in saying what I said. Halo Infinite started pre-production and production in 2015, late. The last Battlefield came out in 2018, so not even 3 years ago. The last Call of Duty from Sledgehammer, 2018, so not even 3 years ago. So we have a situation where, it's very interesting to see that it should run better. It should be flawless after 6 years, in my opinion. And yet there was still major issues in the Halo beta as well. So people always trying to find fault with me, and yet are quick to sort of, dismiss when I'm actually right about stuff, which can be a little bit frustrating at times as well. So, we'll see how that works out. I don't know. For me personally, people really kind of, just see how this kind of goes. But anyway, I don't have any high hopes for the game. I personally, will I play it? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I did the beta a little bit, and I just feel like it's not exactly probably something that I'll play. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2. I just feel like this game, this game is something that might not appeal to everyone. There's not even, like, I guess they disabled the achievements if you try to do single player, and there's not really a single player, it's just bots or whatever. But yeah, very cool, very interesting. Let me hear your thoughts on it. Rack them up, fact them up, crap gamer them up. Have a great day. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.